Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. This is your host Sri Iyer and this is Daily Global Insights episode 352. And I have with me my co-host 𝗣𝗚𝘀𝘀𝘀𝘀 Sridharji, Namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel, sir.
Namaskar and good morning to everybody on this bright, wonderful Thursday morning. And we got some exciting news coming your way.
Sridharji, let us start with Ukraine. And it is rumored that Zelensky has visited one of the recaptured cities, which is Izium, very close to his native place and also very close to Kharkiv. How true is this, sir? Evidently, he gave a speech from there.
He has given a speech from there. He has seen a lot of activity. It is very true. He has been, by the local people, have given him assurances that they have been progressively eliminating the forces who are disloyal, and they've got rid of a number of people around, who have been disloyal to Ukraine and been supporting surreptitiously the Russian campaign. So all of that is very true. And of course, Russia responds always in these kinds of circumstances. But based on the evidences and reports that are coming out, he seems to be winning and have regained a significant part of the land that they have lost. That's the intelligence reports and our own kind of data that is showing. That, does it mean Russia is just keeping quiet and withdrawing? We don't know.
And now let's take a look at markets. Sridharji, markets are again looking up a little bit. See, the interest rate, I thought it was already factored in, the rise in interest rates. Is that true or not? Because I'm also seeing a whole bunch of bankruptcies and also layoffs and so on and so forth. See, this gloom and doom can be misleading sometimes. Your thoughts on what is happening in the American economy, sir?
Great. I just want to wrap the previous conversation. There's also reports that Russia has attacked the dam in the same area, and it has caused partial flooding. So they have not kept quiet, and we'll get more details on that. Okay, coming back to the markets are expected the inflation to have been, to some extent, come out better. In other words, reduction by 100 basis points, reduction by 10 basis points, 20 basis points, etc. This is the CPI, core price index. Okay, but on the contrary, it has come the other way. And there's still price pressures around some of the areas that we touched on. So there is some sentiment around whether this is what is exactly happening in the markets. I think that is what has led to this mass hysteria of selling. Now, with regard to the pricing that you have asked, yes, 75 basis points has been priced, but with an indication that already, why 75 basis points? 75 basis points, but somewhere close to the first quarter, second quarter, we expect interest rates to be around 4.3 to 4.5%. That also markets as factored. If you are in mortgages, imagine if the core lending rate is 4.3, 4.5. That's a big number. What would be your mortgage rate? You can calculate yourself and figure out what it means. So therefore, there is that 4.3 is also baked in. Why this gyration? It is called as the hysteria. Okay, and there is one group, Cathie Wood, and she went and bought a whole bunch of technology stocks and key S&P stocks. So my view is the fundamentals on some of these companies, when you look at medium to long term, they are in good position from an economic standpoint. But people always are looking at short term. And so you see this fire sale happening and people moving into cash positions, mostly driven by fear. And as you all, everybody knows that everything works on programmatic trading in the United States. Once you have a trigger, then you see that there's an automatic trigger when the specific price points are reached in the time series numbers.
Let's take a look at SCO happening in Uzbekistan, Sridharji. Now you have Modi also there, Xi Jinping is there, Putin is there, perhaps the Pakistani Prime Minister also is visiting there. What is China is going through right now? Clearly, the Ukraine experience of Russia must be sobering it, that it might be thinking twice before wanting to attack Taiwan or perhaps India. What do you think is going on in Xi Jinping's mind? Of course, your call that he is going to go turned out to be right. Again, I compliment you, sir. What do you think is going on in Xi Jinping's mind?
Xi Jinping mind has three specific objectives. I think we talked, but I'll recap. First and foremost objective is going to grandstand, and he's going to say, here I am leading the new world order. When I took over the presidency, I said I will put China in top of the world. And I have done Hong Kong. I have nullified quite a few nations in South China Sea. I have to some extent neutralized United States. Here I am in Central Asia, which is close to 40% of the population and 25% of GDP. And I'm shaking hands and I'm the boss. Why? Vladimir Putin is not getting good headlines around the world. He has not won Ukraine. You remember, I have not done anything reckless, but I have threatened every guy around, but I can call the shots as I see. So this is the second message that he is delivering to his own audiences and to the world. And the third, which is the economic message, which is to say, this is where I launched the Belt and Road Initiative from. I'm back here, I'm recasting, and I'm saying I'm launching the new economic order from here. That's just not BRI, but also renminbi now as the yuan, as an economic currency, and which is the energy and commodity currency in the world, ruble. So ruble is now trading in yuan. So here I am, grandstanding on these three fronts without firing a battle. I am winning the war is the message he's sending to the world, sir.
Interesting, sir. There are senators from across both Democrats and Republicans who are trying to call Russia a terror state. What is the difference? They've already put enough sanctions on Russia. How will that make a difference, assuming that the vote goes through in Senate as well as in the Congress?
There's a very famous Australian Prime Minister. His name is Paul Keating. He used to kind of launch a tirade against he was a labor man against the liberals, which is, he used to say, you're flogging the carcass with dead lettuce. This is how the United States politicians, they're flogging Russia, they're flogging China with all kinds of sanctions. But if you look at across the spectrum, the business industry, be it the Silicon Valley and be it some of these other people in the manufacturing, they're still supporting the Chinese efforts on the trade. So all this drama, the politicians are enacting in the United States, be it Russia, be it China, I think it's just basically political rhetoric that is happening. They haven't done anything substantive to mitigate the rise of China.
Vice President Kamala Harris now says that the plan to give asylum to all the illegals who came in is still on, while it faces, headstorm of opposition from everyone. Why is this death wish for the Democrats? Just when you thought that Republicans shot themselves in the foot by getting the abortion ruling and trying to implement it across the state, why is each party trying to better the other?
I wish I can. I think if I am correct, you can correct me on this. Both of us are Americans in that context. Wasn't Kamala Harris part of the progressive group? She was in the progressive group.
Yes.
So
she had one group in there. Yeah.
Yes. So therefore, she is still hosting that flag, sir, which is Bernie Sanders and namely Bernie Sanders and Ilhan and our famous Pramila Jayapal, the two aunties from the Indian origin, Pramila Jayapal and Kamala Harris, saying that open the borders and normalize all these illegals. So I think that's she is continuing to rant. And by the way, she also makes the statement, "Oh, there's nothing happening in the border. You guys must be, smoking something different." So therefore, that's her kind of rant as well. So it's very fascinating on that point. Just to go back to the last one, which you asked me about Russia. I don't know why. Trump was right when he said, negotiate with Putin and just let him do what he wants to do. He's not going to attain Ukraine. And the Democrats have done the opposite with Russians. And that is why they have plunged the world into a chaos. There was no chaos up until then. So I think I just wanted to wrap that point. I was concluding with China because of the some of the sanctions relates both to China as well as Russia. So I'm sorry, I just went on China rather than Russia. So I finished that. As far as the Harris is concerned, this is it. She's hoisting the progressive flag.
Now, last one. Fitch has given ratings for India that appears to be a little bit less than its previous forecast. Yet there are some good numbers, export numbers, and so on. A bit of a mixed signals here. What is Fitch seeing that the Indian industry is not seeing?
It's called as the old wine in the new bottle, right? So Fitch, Morgan Stanley, Moody's, they're still factoring India as a deeply connected economy with the world, and as a consequence, facing the same headwinds that Europe and United States has confronted with in terms of energy crisis, food crisis, supply chain crisis, etc. They forget for a minute that India is still evolving to a Western state and has managed some of its economic agenda better in terms of augmenting its capabilities and resources domestically relative to the Western nations. Western nations sank carte blanche, particularly Europe, into Russia without an alternate, and United States, cut its foot from being energy surplus to energy deficient, to the extent now we're going and begging Venezuela and Cuba and Iran whether they can give us oil, right? So therefore, they're factoring the same in computing that India is going to face headwinds. But I think India will weather the storm by virtue of a combination of domestic food production, reasonably well-connected domestic supply chains, the PLI programs. So therefore, I think that they can. My view is, still putting money on 7.8 to 8% FY23 GDP numbers for India.
Thank you very much, Sridharji, and that's about wraps it up for us today. Please come in and watch us tomorrow, same time, same place. Thank you very much, sir. Namaskar.
Thank you. Namaskar. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and we'll see you probably on Saturday, sir, not on Friday.
Yes.
Tomorrow.
Friday is going to be a miss. I take that back. Tomorrow there's going to be a miss, but we'll be back on Saturday. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.